hey, this man here is important. What he says is important. He's got Wealth Labs, trying to teach people about how the rich have really used money to their advantage. This is key information. I've got to get his system, his books, and get into his system because I want to do exactly what he's talking about. He's studied the Rockefellers well enough and other individuals well enough to know exactly what he's talking about. He now teaches and trains people to do what the rich do.
To just leave money for my kids and grandkids and great grandkids. I'm looking to create opportunity so that when they want access to cash, they're not going through all the private institutions and paying the interest there. They're paying interest into something that will benefit their heirs in the future as well. Money can be complicated. Let a nerd help you. We're here to demystify the complex nature of money by getting you answers from financial nerds and whiz kids. Welcome to Ask the Money Nerds, a weekly segment of the Wealth Labs podcast where we answer your most pressing money questions. You asked, we answered. I've got Chief of Staff Stovall with me here for Ask the Money Nerds, and tell us what.
Now, I need to get into this podcast, so I'm looking down here. Here's the link, Ask the Money Nerds. We'll put that on there. Let's see what else they have. I need to subscribe to his channel. I'm going to do that. And there's the Apple Podcast. So there's the information. Well done. Well put out. Let's hear a little more of this, and we're going to end this. I encourage you to look at Wealth Labs and what he's doing in his podcast.
What topic we're on today?
We're going to talk about the family bank today.
What do you mean by family bank?
And legacy.
Like Rockefeller method, like what would the Rockefellers do? Like cash flow banking, like cut out the middleman, earn interest rather than pay interest, my never fail me strategy. Is that what you're talking about there?
All of the above.
Okay.
It's driven by a question from Lee. He read your book, What Would the Rockefellers Do? And he says he loves the concept.
I need to get that book too, and I encourage you to get that book. All that's available, but you have to start with a different mindset and different training to learn how to make your own family bank. And this is fully legally. This is fully upfront and legal. It's just a different way of looking at wealth and working with wealth generation from generation. Now remember, he said when he did this study and research years ago that the Rockefellers had 200 families that were still doing the same type of system, and was it Carnegie's that had not? It failed to do that because they didn't look at wealth the same way.
Of a family bank, and is curious to know how you go about getting your family on board to start a family bank.
Okay.
So I guess we'll start here. For those who haven't read your book, what is a family bank?
Okay, so what would the Rockefellers do is looking at what banks have been doing with their reserves for a long time. There's something called bank-owned life insurance. And so they take their reserves and they put a percentage of those reserves into cash value insurance plans. But these are high cash, low commission types of plans. And they do it with their executives. And that way they're earning interest without paying tax on that while it's inside of that plan. It's higher interest rate than what they're getting in their savings accounts through dividends. And so the concept here is how can you create a minimum guaranteed interest rate? How can you have access to your money before 59.5 with zero penalty? As a matter of fact, get access to that money very quickly, right? Yeah. How can you add a multitude of benefits that if you became disabled, the payments would still happen into this cash plan without you making that payment after 6 months? Or if you needed to go to a long-term care facility in your later ages, that you could tap into the death benefit while you're alive, not just after you're dead. And ultimately, the goal for me is how do we help you build more cash flow and buy your net worth? That's why I call it cash flow.
So how to build more cash flow and your net worth at the same time. These are key components. You need to listen to this guy, get his book, and learn more about it. I'm going to leave you the link here for this video. Watch it all. Get into his podcast. Ask the questions because he's talking about principles that no one else is. And he's spent, I think, 2 decades now studying and researching this, building this system up. He's doing things that no one else is, from loopholes to other things. You've got to study the wealth in detail, the really wealthy, and figure out what they're doing, how they're doing it, and then copy it. That's the underlying principle here. Again, it's Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Look at Ask the Money Nerds. Look at what he's got in his Wealth Lab podcast. Here's the site again, AskTheMoneyNerds.com. We've got to look at the podcast, but we also got to look at the book that he's got out. Let's see, what his name is, Garrett, and I don't know what his first name is, but I know that book. He's got it listed here. I don't know. I've got to check it and see. TheWealthFactory.com. I'm pretty sure that that's got it on there. Let's go click that. I'm pretty sure that's got it on there. This is the Wealth Factory here, and he's got articles and whatnot. He's also got a book I've got to get. He's got a great video. We'll show you a little bit of that. But he talks about how to optimize cash flow. It's not enough just to increase your cash flow, which is essential, but you've got to keep that cash flow and use this cash flow like the wealth you do. Let's look a little bit at his video. It's pretty cute.
Business owners, I've discussed what to do with your money. Now I'll take some questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
I try my best to save money to
Let's go to this video.
A ton of money, and everyone I tried to get financial advice from gave me different information. It was overly complicated, unnecessarily risky, and it became a point where I was almost paralyzed at what type of action to take. 20 years ago is when I really committed myself to figuring out finance. I mean, I was subscribing to the Wall Street Journal while I was in college. I was taking financial courses. I was interviewing people at banks and credit unions and financial institutions, and there was so much confusion. But fortunately, I stuck with it. If we think about the wealthiest families in America, it began kind of with the Vanderbilts for me. One of the craziest things is that the Vanderbilt family had more money than the US Treasury. Think about that. That is such an amazing and massive money. I come from a community that doesn't have that kind of wealth if you combine everyone together. Yet, within 54 years of Cornelius's death, the first Vanderbilt died broke. They dismantled one of the greatest fortunes in the world. Yet if we go to the other side and we start to look at the Rockefellers are on their 6th generation of passing on money. Over 150 people living off the trust, but not feeling like entitled trust fund babies. They're still productive members of society, donating around $50 million a year to charity, and the fortune continues to grow. So what's the difference between the Rockefellers and the Vanderbilts? Is it sheer luck? No, there's a specific sequence and process. And after traveling for 2 years and 2 months every single month, interviewing the best financial minds, interviewing the most affluent people that I could get access to, I discovered that there's a specific methodology, we call it the Rockefeller method, and here's what it looks like. There's ways that you can cut out the middleman and start to earn the interest that you're giving to other people right now. This is a never fail you strategy that doesn't rely upon the stock market. As a matter of fact, if the stock market goes down, you don't have to participate in the downside. There's tax advantages, and most importantly, you have access to your money because you're not locking it away till 59.5 like most IRA plans. And now I've documented it inside of the Rockefeller method and what would the Rockefellers do. The great thing about this book is it's applicable where you can go right to the back cover, figure out your specific circumstance, and start to apply these things today. It's not 600 pages, it's not overly complicated, it's very direct, and what they did is so elegant and even simple to implement that anyone can do it. My mission is for 1 million people to become economically independent, to be able to buck the banking system and instead have their own structure where they can benefit. That's why I want to get this book in your hands. Look, I'll pay for the cost of the book if you invest in the shipping, and if you want to build a legacy that lasts, if you want to reduce your risk when it comes to your finances, if you want to reclaim and recover cash that right now is going to financial institutions and to the IRS and to a myriad of places that is anywhere but your pocket, this is the book for you. So regardless of your wealth and your status and the situation you're in, you can learn from this and implement it too. Click the link, grab your copy by filling out the information, and we'll get this out to you right away.
All right, let's look at this. I've got to get this ordered, and I will order this tomorrow. I think this is it right here. We will get that link to you as well. Roger Martin from Billings, Montana. Good day.